Okay, Pumba, give me some advice here. So, I feel like in fives, I'm pretty good on the Matrix. I've been doing a few more online team events. I've been doing a few more team events here and there.
Mhm.
The Matrix, I think, is something I'm good at. But I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I just see what my team has written down, and I'm like, that's not the score. And I just before the
Yeah.
Matrix, I'll just go, tell me what you don't want to play against, and they'll go like, I don't want to play against this. I don't want to play against this, and I'll be like, cool. Remind me when we're doing the pairings and the thing. Tap me on the shoulder, say, okay, remember like this. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I just wrap it all up in my brain, and then just do the pairings without any 12-8, 14-6, whatever, like 10-10. Do you think that's a viable approach? Like I think using the Matrix is better, obviously. But if you're a coming team, if you're a team coming to this event, and you don't have the time and preparation to do Matrix, or you haven't got the experience, what would be your advice to someone? Given that I could also be in that crowd.
Ooh, that's a hard thing to do, I think.
I don't think it's that hard. I think what you
Yeah.
said about looking for a way to dodge your worst matchups, because people usually don't know how to evaluate win draw loses into 20-0 scoring, which is completely fine if you don't have experience with that, because people will
Yep.
play differently. But from your previous win draw lose games, you can tell when you got fucked,
Yeah.
and you can dodge that. And
Yes, and like, but then the problem that might occur is 4 people or 5 people telling you, bro, I don't want to play that.
no one wants to play guard. Surprise.
Yeah, so you
And
find the
and
one who doesn't have any great
and then
matchups,
and
and
then
they go under
three
the
of
bus.
them
Yeah.
and then 3 of them don't want to play another thing. And then you need to figure out the optimal way to do that, right? You might not have an answer for something. That is fine. That sometimes happens. Now you need to know which of your armies will get thrown under the bus. And you will
Yeah.
only know that if you have the actual like matrix. What I recommend in this case, because I don't believe in putting an exact score from a game into a matrix. I think it's absolutely impossible. I think the people that do it are just making shit up. I'm gonna be
False
frank
precision.
about this. Yes, it's just 3 colors. Yes, no, okay.
Mhm.
Just or even like, eh, God, please no, save me from this.
I'll crush this.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
like
Just a question:
three
Did you guys
three
use that?
colors is all you need.
Did you guys use that
Legitimate.
at WTC, or was it? Did you guys do pointed matrix as well?
No, we had
We
five.
never do
We basically
5
had
colors.
5 colors. Like
Five,
Okay.
we
5, 6 colors.
we had 5 major colors, which was like huge win, small win, but every one of those were like basically a bracket
Yep.
between
Yep.
between big, small. Like basically, green meant like worst case I get 10, but I can get up to 15 in that matchup. And then you had like dark green, which was a bigger win. But we also had 2 colors that meant that that matchup is very swingy, but those colors were meant to be used only if you really know about it, because people tend to overuse it because
Yeah.
they feel like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a roll of matchup. It's either 12 for me or 15 for me. Like, bro.
yeah. If you let your players just put everything as a roll off, they will do that every time.
So speaking
I
of
I
like,
think the
I'm
interesting
gonna
thing
I'm
that
gonna
I
override
learned.
you.
Go on, sorry.
Oh, go. No, you go for it. Go for it.
Okay,
I was going
Mitch,
to say
go.
thank you, Typhus.
He's the boss.
The interesting thing that I learned from last WTC was, so I was running pairings for Team Iceland. That was my primary job, and I took a very quantitative approach to it. And what I found was, with a fair bit of practice, I got very good at winning pairings. If you're on audio, you're not seeing the massive air quotes happening, where I had expected outcomes, and then I paired according to what my matrix said was good and avoided what was bad. And I thought I did a great job. And then, perfect performance, but then inevitably the score would be wildly off. Like, the hard part is not, given a grid, beat the people in pairings. The hard part is the grid needs a ton of context, and also you can't trust it. And that's where all of the challenge comes. So I think you've never done it before. I really like just doing like red, yellow, green, just like make it really easy, because unless you have a lot of practice, the precision is is false, and it will give you a better sense of what's going to happen than what actually will happen. And red, yellow, green for someone who's not done a lot of teams, I think is absolutely really, really smart. I don't know if I'd do it for WTC, but I'd absolutely do it for ITT.
No.
And then just like, you're going to outplay them or you're not, especially since the boards are all the same. And especially if you're focusing on all comers lists, like actually, I think if it's 5 all comers versus 5 all comers on the board, skill wins, not
to
pairings,
even make it
realistically.
easier. If you are used to playing win, draw, lose, you can kind of translate those matchups that you know are close, that you are like within 5-10 points from each other, into like a yellow. Those that you win comfortably into a green, and those that you usually lose to a red. And that's kind of like where you at. It's a very simplified version, but I think that's a good start.
It works perfectly. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I've started with my local team, as I've said, and most of these guys, even me, had no idea how to prepare, right? We had no time for prepare for every single matchup. We weren't so into that. What you need to understand is the matrix is then primarily the tool for the captain or to the person doing the pairings. It's only use. Like, if you don't like, stop thinking of it like, if I don't bring a 12, something bad will happen. Just give me the info. Just give me your honest opinion, feelings, thoughts. I need to do this, and this is the best way to do it. And it works wonders. Like, honestly, I've done that multiple times, multiple tournaments, and have done wonderfully with just 3 color tables.
I would elaborate on that and add that it's not the pairings that win you the games, it's how good your estimations are usually.
It's data.
So it's basically an information game, like everything nowadays. So with that in mind, like, I would also add that your estimation matrices are useful not only for the captain, but also for your own team to look at them when you have your own field and say, I don't think I agree with you on that one. And then you just start a conversation, and you have players who have different point of view on a specific matchup. Having a prolonged conversation, somebody else might chime in and give their point of view. And it not only validates whether one person was wrong or not, maybe they will end up playing that matchup. So it's also great because they get actual reps. But there is also another thing about it, that more people start to understand what's going on in the brain of a specific player. So you tend to share more and more information with those small discussions.
Okay, I have 2 big questions. First question, do you account for player skill in the pairings and player personalities at all? Yes, no?
No, never.
Okay. Mitch, no?
Never.
I'm planning to for WTC. Maybe not for ITT, but I'm going to for WTC. Because at the end of the day, I want to know if this person on this list plays this person on this list, on this table, on this mission, what's going to happen. At the end of the day, that's what I want to know, right?
Even more broader than that, because this is a pretty unique event, because so many people in the UKTC have history against one another, you know? So me personally, I do take that into consideration. If someone tells me, like, look, I've never lost to this guy, I'd be like, mate, go on. like, well, let's continue it, you know, or something like that. But maybe that's just me. I think that's a very singles orientated view of it, of the world as well, right? Like, you've got a history.
I think it is, but I think it produces hello. I think it produces like false assumptions, because I think what you always want to expect is your opponent playing a perfect game of 40k. And you playing a perfect game of 40k.
Because
this is how you actually figure out a matchup.
For a captain, it's way worse if you underperform that you overperform.
Yep.
Yes.
But it's like a double-edged sword, because if you underestimate everything, then your captain's like, bro, why are you losing everything? Like, what happened?
It's very comfortable to underestimate everything and overperform, which isn't helpful. But I think a lot of players get caught in the trap of actually not realizing, like, okay, this game is like a 12-8 right now. Like, I really need to take my foot off the gas completely and make this like a 6-14, not like a 18-2, which it could become very quickly if I keep playing the game.
And there's also another thing about you guys. As you mentioned, you play a lot between each other. You're like basically in a pod playing those UKTC events. You might have a preconception about playing against a specific player, but you have a preconception based on you playing win, draw, lose.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Interesting.